Hello, this is LEGO's Large C-3PO for 2024. This comes with 1,138 pieces, 1138, and I paid $140 US for it. The build for this occurred live over on Twitch, and if you're wondering about these are all about donations to charity that occurred during some of the live builds this week. More on that later. The set includes a medium-sized printed plaque plus a 25th anniversary LEGO Star Wars brick, and we'll look at the minifig closer later. First, focusing on the main thing here, the statue is very interesting. It has very good realistic proportions and an amazing set of angles to it. See this very, very subtle forward angle to the entire lower body, and then it angles back here. It's very accurate in that way, and much more so than I would have expected from anything from LEGO. The build of it inside is also kind of unexpected to me, at least. A lot of little finicky stuff, a lot of different colored things go in first before you start putting on major sections of gold on the outside. Most of the gold is molded gold. There's a little bit of plated stuff on there, plated or drum lacquered stuff. And also obviously you've got the one leg, which is silver. Technically it should be like a lighter gold, a more pale gold, less saturated, more champagne gold, but this is the closest that they get, and many toy manufacturers go that way. The base represents the sand of Tatooine, and unfortunately you cannot remove this easily from the base because it's so integrated in. I mean, these feet are very, very small to be holding up all the potential weight of just wiggling this very tall and rather top-heavy statue around. So it really had to be integrated in here very carefully. You got some interesting angles down there as well. Just a little bit of gray here, but you can see that most of the gold, once again, consists of molded gold. Now there are two different colors of molded gold here, which is something that I haven't seen in a while. Usually happens during a transition time when they're transitioning between different types of resins, but you'll see it as it comes up. There's also the plated one. Again, the drum lacquered gold is used just a little bit. But the shaping here is nice. I really like the shaping right here. Like, this is very, very subtle. The angle for these two sections of plates is done nicely. There's some dark tan, as is usual for very gold items from LEGO, built in there for some of the parts that they weren't able to get recolors for. A lot of just regular gray is used for this silver leg, and then they don't use molded silver. Instead, they use the bright drum lacquered silver for a handful of the pieces, which doesn't look that bad, honestly. You definitely want it to be all consistent, but from any kind of distance, it doesn't really look that bad. It doesn't really bother me. Only up close, you really notice it, I think, really, really obviously. Again, subtle angles. The legs are splayed apart just a little bit, and then that creates a pretty tight gapping back here. All the wires are done with stickers. They are all the way around. I mean, you can see a little bit of suggestion, like they tried to build it in here with some of the colors inside, but most of the primary detail there is done with stickers. However, once we get above that, then we get a print here. This is a unique specialized print there. That's a unique print, and then there's also a unique print for the mouth. We'll get back to that. The arms are the only things that can move on this, arms and hands. So the hands can move around. You can articulate the fingers just a little bit in and out. That's the range of it, from all the way in to all the way out. Sticker used also here in the palm, but the hands can rotate around quite a bit, and then you can rotate at the elbow slightly in and out, just like that. Right, so it's just the forearm. You can also manipulate these actuators just to make sure that they stay flat. And then finally at the shoulders, you can rotate all of this up and down. So that gives you a decent range of motion. You can put it into different poses. I think that makes sense. The one that I was trying to go for here was like the introduction. I am C-3PO, Human Cyborg Relations. So you can get some things out of it. Just don't expect a whole lot. As we get farther up, we start to see more obviously the two different tones of gold. So this one, especially right here, this is a small 4 wide windscreen piece, is a different color. It's much more orange, or actually more reddish than the others, and a slightly different value, but mostly just a different hue. And yeah, again, I just have not seen that in some years now. I thought that they had settled down on one color, and yeah, it's unfortunate to see that once again. It's not too disruptive, The whole thing looks like it has a little bit of patina, a little bit of difference throughout, which isn't that bad. But if you want consistency, which is what we're paying for usually from a high-priced plastic model system, you're not getting it here. You're not getting complete consistency. More reddish color is used in there. The reddish color is used there. And then one of the most obvious things for me is the reddish color is used for the sections of the dome and also the sides of the cheeks there, for the 1x2 by 2/3 slopes. Honestly, the face does not look as bad. Oh yeah, you can also rotate the head. Does not look as bad to me in person as it did in Lego's official pictures. Once again, they have sold themselves a little bit short with their official pictures. I don't know how they do it so frequently, but they do. It's not great, but it's not bad. The overall shaping, I think, is nice, and I'm glad that so much of this is shaped so interestingly and so carefully. The biggest problem would be eyes and the mouth plate. The eyes honestly don't bother me. I mean, that looks pretty good, especially slightly at an angle like that with the light hitting it like that. The eyes, how can we get better than that in Lego form without just doing it all as prints or stickers? But then the mouth also, that whole plate right there, that 5-sided tile, just honestly does not bug me as much in person as it did in the pictures. If we could have cut down here just a little bit, if they had a different version of this that didn't have the extension all the way down, maybe they could have tiered that in a bit more, but I'm warming to it. I'm getting used to it. Coming around the back, there's one more piece that's done in the nice plated color there. It's too bad we did have to get some dark tan going through the head. Otherwise, this would have looked much more consistent than it does all the way around. But again, that is around the back, so from most angles, you're not going to see that at all. The head is attached securely. A little bit of the backpack or the back itself. The upper part of the back is attached nicely. I think, was this supposed to angle in, or is it supposed to be more like that? I'll need to check the reference photos on that. You definitely see more dark tan back here. I really like the insert plates of I don't know if those are like bearings or ring. I forget the name of the type of electrical joints that can pass a lot of different data through and different electrical circuits through. But those in silver are nice to see and just gives a little extra contrast there and just makes the whole thing feel a little bit more presence to me. All in all, overall, the whole thing feels good to me. I'm happy with it. I feel satisfied with it. The build experience was definitely not what I was expecting. It's more interesting, not too challenging along the way. Some things you do have to pay attention to, but it's not bad. Also, it is properly scaled to the most recent, not the big UCS, but the most recent, smaller, arguably better looking version of R2-D2, and also the larger and controversially possibly bad looking Chewbacca, which also looks better in person and in normal people's pictures than in the studio photos from Lego. But all those are in the same scale, and who knows, we might get some more things in the future in this same scale. Only problem here is that this guy has a base, and it's specifically a base for desert, and there's no such thing here, so they kind of look like they're in different places maybe. The minifig version of C-3PO included in this set is the exact same one that was with the UCS Landspeeder, Luke's Landspeeder. I'm mildly disappointed that they have not come up with one that brings the silver color in, like molded silver color in for the lower part of the right leg there, but otherwise the level of detail on this is the best it's ever been, with really good printing, nice, clear, crisp lines on the sides of the arms as well as the legs. I think arm printing has fallen behind generally historically relative to other prints. It doesn't tend to be applied as cleanly, as consistently, but the stamping here is really, really good. So I'm happy with that. And this is a very collectible minifigure, in my opinion. This is what I have for leftover pieces, but I have to immediately admit that I spilled the tray that these were in, so this might not be 100% accurate at this point. Sorry about that. This is what the sticker sheet looked like. Again, I paid $140 US for this. It's 140 euros, 125 pounds UK, or $180 Canadian. The piece count is 1138, reference to George Lucas's first major film, THX 1138. Once again, proving that when I say Lego designers will sometimes change the number of parts in something by just a little bit, they'll merge a couple things together, they'll split something just to get a very specific cheeky piece count intentionally. And then YouTube commenters just trash me and say that I'm a completely out of my mind, crazy conspiracy theorist. One of us is right. Value here? I would like to see this at like 120, honestly. I've thought about it quite a bit. 120 is where I'm comfortable. I could imagine a world where it's 100, but that's probably being a little bit too optimistic on my part, considering how much stuff is here, considering the Lego tax, considering the Disney tax, considering the Star Wars tax. In other words, considering how much people are willing to pay, people who have plenty of extra money to spare on toys and collectibles and things. Considering all that and the fact that it's 2024, I still would like to see this at 120. That's really where I've settled at with it. The good thing is that it is good. The entire product is good. This is a good set. It is well designed. These angles here, the angles out here, the fact that the stand holds this. I mean, it's attached. I mean, the feet are tiny and the connection down here is smaller than the feet even. It's not going to fall over. I mean, there's so much weight up here. That is really solid engineering, and it looks better in person. And hopefully that came across on video as well, than in the official studio pictures and renderings that Lego put out there. This little bit of articulation is really useful. You know, you don't even have a waist swivel, but just what is here is good. Comparing this to other things that you get from outside of the world of Lego, if you paid $140 for a statue of C-3PO that's good, like a nice one, it's going to be like this tall. Something this high is going to cost probably twice as much, $200 to $300, easy. But it's going to be really nice. It's very difficult to compare there. Some large lower end action figures you can compare it to maybe, but then that's not so fair because there's a lot more here than with a low end large action figures. So yeah, I really do think that 120 is fair, but the design is nice. Yeah, could have used more silver down here, sure. Definitely, I don't want to see us go into this world again of multiple golds. We already went through that years ago when they were switching their they went to a new resin mix that was too brittle. It was terrible, and then they changed from that. Thankfully, they fixed that after like a season or two. And now we're going back again. So hopefully this is temporary. They fix it, because I really don't like having multiple colors when it's supposed to be one color. I know it's difficult, but Lego got it right. They had a durable color that does not suffer from gold plastic syndrome. It doesn't shatter. And it's not ugly green. It's not like puke green like many manufacturers get to a green color for their injection molded metallic gold pieces in order to get a mix between the dyes and the amount of dyes and the type of base resins mixed in there that are needed for the necessary durability and longevity. But now we're switching to this more orangish thing again. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. Hopefully that'll go away. At least it's not super distracting for me here. Like I mentioned, this already has a number of different colors mixed through there. Just a little bit of the drum lacquer, a little bit of the dark tan. So in all, this works out fine for me. But I have concerns more about the system on the whole. A given color should be that color consistently. That is the Lego way. It has always been the Lego way. But that's pretty much it for my thoughts on this, and the figure is good and everything. I mentioned this earlier and I have covered it in a couple of other videos, but each of these represents a donation to Stand Up to Cancer that occurred while building Lego things live on Twitch and a little bit on YouTube as well for the special event. If you're watching this video before August 19th, 2024, please hit the link, the Tiltify link down in my video description. If you're interested in supporting Stand Up to Cancer and their mission to make the connections end to end between the science and the research, all the way down to patients to get clinical trials and treatments advanced to improve, lengthen, and save lives today and in the future. And I also want to especially once again thank very much the very kind and generous folks who, without even wanting any attribution, anonymously donated while I was not even live, just using that link in the video description. I really appreciate that. Even, the most modest amount is huge, because those small donations add up a lot. This is a large team-wide big seasonal event. We do this one time per year for Stand Up to Cancer, in particular, this big major push. And I appreciate any and all support for all of that. So thank you very much. Thank you for making it this far in this video. I hope that I brought you some value with what I've said, even if you don't agree with some of my personal opinions, and I'll talk to you soon.